And good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to you all to our second webinar, Eyewear Industry 2.0, a Youthful Perspective. Namaste, I'm Shrey Kumar from the Indian Optician with my co-host Jaspinder Bhatia and a very special invitee, Mr. Rajesh Wadhwa.
Good evening. This is your host, Jaspinder Bhatia, co-founder and CEO of Smart Events. I would like to thank you all for the immense love and appreciation you gave us in the first webinar. और मैं तहे दिल से आपका हमारे सेकंड वेबिनार में स्वागत करती हूँ.
Everybody,
Hi, welcome.
I'm Rajesh Wadhwa, and today, as we see, we are having the youth, real youth in our wholesale industry. We can all see the big names. Viraj is there, Mukul is there, Pratik, Jaspinder, of course, is handling the whole show. Then Kavin, Vidhi, Priyal, Mehul, Anik, and of course, Shrey, who is looking after the Indian optician. It's wonderful to see the youth spirit into this, and we are all ready as soldiers to fight out the new challenges which will come up after COVID. Over to you, Shrey.
Thank you, sir. As you all know, the entire world is going through a rough, turbulent time presently. And by now, we are all aware that COVID-19 will be with us for a long time and we have to move on with it till the time a vaccine is found. The optical industry too has been facing tough times for the last few weeks. और आज सभी के मन में ये सवाल है कि इन मुश्किलों का हम अपने बिजनेस से कैसे चलाएंगे. इन मुश्किलों में हम अपने बिजनेस को कैसे चलाएंगे.
कहीं ना कहीं आई थिंक हम सब लोगों को कुछ गाइडेंस चाहिए और इसलिए आज हम इसके लिए लाए हैं एक ग्रुप ऑफ डायनामिक यंग लीडर्स फ्रॉम द होलसेल ऑप्टिकल सेक्टर जो अपने साथ लाएंगे एक फ्रेश पर्सपेक्टिव, एक नई सोच और हमारे साथ शेयर करेंगे अपने विचार अबाउट द ऑप्टिकल इंडस्ट्री. बट इससे पहले कि हम लोग आगे बढ़े, मैं अपने स्पेशल इनवाइटी मिस्टर राजेश वाधवा जी का वेलकम करना चाहूँगी. Mr. Rajesh Wadhwa is the owner of Wadhwa Opticos New Delhi. Mr. Wadhwa, it is our sheer pleasure to have you on our webinar today. Introducing our esteemed panelists now, हमारे साथ हैं Anik Desai, who started with learning the basics of business, but after sales service and operations at Diamond Lab from Anand, Gujarat, and now is more focused on the machinery side of the business and the retail space. We also welcome Kavin Motani, who looks after business development, sales and marketing divisions at Delta Lens Private Limited, Mumbai, and is also the business head for Nikon in India.
Right. And, we have Mr. Mehul Garg from RK Optical Services, a familiar face amongst prestigious members of the optical industry in India. He has been ably looking after the firm's retail operations while representing RKOS Lens brand since a decade now. A very warm welcome to Mukul Poojara, also from Optimat Corporation, Mumbai, who has had 11 years of experience in almost all departments: operations, purchases, finance, sales, and marketing. Pratik Gupta is currently the VP Tech and Strategy for Support Lenses, New Delhi. He's working on digitalization of his company and is leading new initiatives for the company that will help set it up for success in the next decade. We also have Mrs. Priyal Khara Thakur, who is looking after marketing for the last 7 years at Mangalson Optics Private Limited, Mumbai, and Ms. Vidhi Sheth from Eternity Lifestyles Private Limited, Mumbai. She has been in the industry for over 6 years now. Her primary focus areas have been sales and marketing for both home brand OPM Eyewear and in all aspects, digital, PR, and collaboration on e-commerce. Lastly, we have with us Mr. Viraj Modi, the third generation entrepreneur to join this family business of Alankar Opticians, a premier wholesaler with the business of supplying frame and sunglasses pan India.
बिना देर किए हुए आगे बढ़ते हैं और लेके आते हैं हमारा पहला पोल अपनी ऑडियंस के लिए. पोल नंबर 1. सो हम लोग कुछ पोल क्वेश्चंस आपको देना चाहेंगे. ये क्वेश्चन आपकी स्क्रीन पे आएगा और आप प्लीज बताइए कि आपको बेस्ट सूटेबल आंसर क्या लगता है. तो हमारा पहला पोल क्वेश्चन है, व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज फॉर आवर इंडस्ट्री ड्यू टू द कोविड-19 पैंडेमिक. आई विल रिपीट दैट. कोविड की वजह से हमारी इंडस्ट्री के लिए सबसे बिगेस्ट चैलेंज क्या है? इज इट असर्टनिंग द न्यू नॉर्मल? इज इट फॉलिंग फुटफॉल्स? Is it the rising costs of operations due to new safety protocols? Or is it slowdown in spending patterns due to overall economic situation? आपको क्या लगता है? हम आपके जवाबों का इंतजार करेंगे. Shrey.
Right. Moving on to the first question. Corona has kept, this first question I will be asking Kavin Motani and Anik Desai. Right. Corona has kept the entire trade home for the past several weeks. How do you intend to resume work, especially in the situation wherein the requirement only comes when the retail front is open? I'll repeat in Hindi. कोरोना की वजह से पिछले कुछ हफ्तों से पूरा ट्रेड घर पे है. इस सिचुएशन में जहां रिक्वायरमेंट सिर्फ रिटेल खुलने से आती है, आप अपना काम कैसे दोबारा शुरू कर सकते हो?
Thank you, Trey. Good evening, everyone. So, this is the first time in history that humanity has faced such a situation, and it's a complicated situation. Do we reopen the economy and risk lives, or do we stay in lockdown and risk livelihoods that in turn will risk lives and destroy the economy? Unfortunately, in our industry and in our business, working from home is not an option. And since the cure for COVID-19 is also not around the corner, the hard fact is that we will have to go back to work and learn to coexist with the virus. This has been done successfully in let's say South Korea, in Hong Kong, and this can be done. We have at Delta Lens, we have reopened some of our branches in areas where the government has allowed us to. The first step to restart operations was to sanitize our offices and labs and equip them with all the materials that are required to maintain a safe work environment. The most challenging part of the restart, I would say, was to train our staff about the do's and don'ts in the post-COVID situation. We opened some of our branches in areas where the government has allowed us to. The first step to restart operations was to sanitize our offices and labs. Sorry, may I continue? Yeah. So the most challenging part of the restart, again, like I was saying, was to train our staff about the do's and don'ts and to ensure that everybody stays safe. Since some areas in the country are less affected than others, we've seen retail opticians and eye hospitals reopen in these parts, and we have been servicing them. And I expect a step-by-step reopening of the regions. And we as a company have to be ready to service our customers irrespective of where they are in the country. Thank you.
Anik, would you like to answer the question? Anik?
Okay, I was on mute, so I'll start again. So first of all, we need to be ready to prevent this disease and infection amongst our staff and ourselves. Agar health hai to sab hai, that's what it is. And the next 3 points are non-health related. First of all, we need to divide our work into contact work and non-contact work. Our non-contact work is not going to be affected a lot, but our contact work is going to be affected. So we need to identify how to make the communication channels more clear and personable. So for clear, we will have to upgrade our technology, digitize our operations, which I think many of my panelists will speak about. And for making it more personable and effective, we will have to train our staff, which again might be talked about in this panel. My second point would be to alter our product offering. So we need to focus right now what brings in liquidity right now, and not really focus on products that might stay on my shelf for 2 or 3 years. So that's the second point. And the third point would be, right now we have time enough to redefine what our bottom line is. So our bottom line might change, that we will have to redefine it to improve our back end operations. So till now, what our bottom line was driven by was marketing and sales. What now it might be that our operations need to be more efficient. So for instance, like rather I would spend my money on digitization and software for my inventory than to open a new branch. So this is what I feel would be happening more and more right now, or should happen more and more right now. So that's all from me.
Thank you so much, Anik. And thank you, Kavin. I will just quickly wrap up what both of you said for our audience to understand better. So अनिक और कविन के हिसाब से हमें अब कोविड के साथ में कोएग्जिस्ट करना सीखना पड़ेगा. सबसे पहली जो बात कही कविन ने वो ये थी कि हमें अपने शॉप्स को, अपने एटमॉस्फेयर को सैनिटाइज रखना पड़ेगा. हमें अपने स्टाफ को ट्रेन करना पड़ेगा. इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज हेल्थ जो है वो सबसे प्रायोरिटी पे रहने वाली है आने वाले टाइम में. जो एक और वैल्यूएबल पॉइंट अनिक ने ऐड किया वो ये है कि हमें अपने सारे वर्क को स्मार्टली कॉन्टैक्ट वर्क एंड नॉन कॉन्टैक्ट वर्क में डिवाइड करना पड़ेगा. तो उसमें हमें देखना पड़ेगा हम कैसे डिजिटलाइजेशन लेके आए, कैसे नॉन कॉन्टैक्ट वर्क को हम लोग कैसे बेटर कर सकें. देन ही टॉक्ड अबाउट ऑल्टरिंग प्रोडक्ट ऑफरिंग्स एंड लिक्विडिटी. सो लिक्विडिटी कैसे आ रही है वो हमारी प्रेफरेंसेस रहनी चाहिए रादर देन अदर थिंग्स. राइट गाइस? या.
Yes.
Over to you, Shrey.
I think you will have to unmute Shrey.
All right, sorry. Question number 2. Right, this one is directed at Viraj, Mukul, and Priyal. So Viraj, the wholesale trade has been a door-to-door business, traveling for orders. With travel restraints in place now, how will you reach your customers and get business back in order? I'll repeat. घर घर जाके बेचना wholesale trade का एक ज़रूरी हिस्सा है, पर अब travel पे restrictions की वजह से आप अपने customers तक कैसे पहुंचोगे?
All right. Very good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here and giving me an opportunity to present Alankar's perspective. And it's really an honor and a privilege to be among such talented panelists. Coming to your question, communication is the key when it comes to sale. Now, post-COVID, post-lockdown, it will remain the single most essential tool in our hands in order to maintain relations with our customers, and as well as when it comes to the selling process. We have an opportunity at our hand, an opportunity to move from physical to phygital. Phygital is a combination of physical and digital means of selling. This is the most essential. Interpersonal communication is very important when it comes to the art of digital selling of the eyewear. So immersion, interaction, and immediacy of deliveries will actually help you in your selling process even further. I would like to give an example here that we all are actually doing, but we don't normally realize. So salesmen normally click the photographs of their samples and then they forward it to their customers. Then their customers may or may not order. And if they are confused, then we can always send them a courier of those samples and then they can purchase and take if they want. This was a very simple example, but I am seeing the scope of this magnified. And I want to speak laterally. We have to think innovatively. There will be digital shows, there'll be digital trade shows. Just like this webinar is trending, I am hoping, assuming that new launches, e-launches, I think these will become very trendy in the future. We really need to be adaptive. We need to be innovative. and we must be aware of what is happening around us and not let any opportunity pass away. So, Shrey, over to you.
Yeah, right. So, Mukul, would you like to answer that question as well?
For having me again over here to talk about this today. So I think few of the points Viraj mentioned are very relevant. I had some of them noted down with me also to talk about key launches and kind of things that could be popular. But definitely, I mean, historically, door-to-door selling has been the main way to actually go and actually show new products to an optician, sell them products. And also, like he said, communication is a big part of the process, given the nature of the transaction and otherwise. This will change for sure now in the immediate future anyway. Maybe it comes back to normal after a year and a half, but in the immediate future for sure, we as companies will have to train our staff, our salesmen also to actually try to find new ways, maybe set up kind of video calls on the numerous platforms that are there to try and show the new products, because definitely there will be lesser face-to-face interaction. I don't say that face-to-face visits will completely go away, but it will have to be coupled with something different. Viraj said also, historically, we have been sending pictures on WhatsApp. I think pretty much everybody's been doing that. All of us have e-catalogs. So I think what we've been doing historically is using it more as an ancillary tool, not as a primary tool in terms of the way we do sales. And I think this will have to change. Ancillary will sort of overtake, and I mean, will have to be more primary in the near future, as opposed to then maybe it changes a year and a half from now. But in the immediate future, it'll be this way. And there will be a fair bit of training that goes in also for the sales staff, the way we talk to our sales reps and get them sort of comfortable with the idea of not being face-to-face all the time. A large part of these tools could also be used by the retailers themselves to actually show product to their consumers who, because I mean, there would be an opportunity there also for them to try and sell differently to their consumers. Another opportunity, maybe a lot of us are already doing it, if some aren't, I mean, is to create some kind of a backend on your ERP to try and sort of let the retailer have a window with maybe a unique username and a password where you can actually just come and see product on your ERP and actually buy it. You know, maybe see all the attributes, the specifications, the sizes, whatever he needs to along with the pictures, and try and purchase the product that way. So yeah, these are, I think, the points, but I think collectively, all of us in the value chain, including the consumer, all of us in the supply chain are in this together. So yeah, we'll have to look for solutions as we go along and learn as we go along and try and find sort of what formula works the best. I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll be different for different opticians and different for different suppliers with different opticians. Yeah, we'll have to find that right mix as we move along. And yeah, lastly, if any of our optician friends or partners have any suggestions that haven't been mentioned in this webinar or previous webinars, I mean, I'm assuming all of us are nothing but adaptable in this kind of situation and open to learn. I mean, so long as it's feasible and can be done, we'll be happy to sort of do something to move the business forward and to limit the impact as much as possible on us. Thank you.
Right. Priyal, what about your views?
Thank you, Shrey, for letting me share my views on this. We all know social distancing is going to be the new normal now, from now on. And in our industry, because it's traditional and everyone purchases, a retailer purchases their products after seeing the color, the touch and feel. But they need to be adaptive and they need to adapt, as Viraj said, to the new normal now. E-cataloging is going to be the paramount for the next 1 year in a lot of innovative ways, in a lot of new ways, in such a way that we should talk to every retailer to understand how comfortable would they be and what do they want to see in an e-cataloging system so that it becomes easier for them to even purchase. And it should be created keeping them in hand. Also, a lot of wholesalers have their salesmen in different regions, and because they can't travel across different cities and all, this time should be utilized for them to maybe broaden and touch base with that region and develop the business locally over there. Also, the order system of going door to door, it's not just the order system but also the payment collection system. So everyone should even get used to the digitalization for payment collection with, using different wallets, your Google Pays, your Paytms, maybe even get a credit card system happening, couriering checks, because a lot of people are apprehensive on the same part. So that's about it from my end.
Hey, thanks a lot, Priyal. Right, so my next question is to Prateek and Vidhi. Right. Technology has revolutionized the optical industry in all spheres: lenses, eyewear, machinery, etc. Digitalization has had a huge impact. Please share your thoughts on how this has changed the landscape of the industry and how it will play out in the future. Again, in Hindi. टेक्नोलॉजी ने ऑप्टिकल इंडस्ट्री के सभी फील्ड्स, लेंसेज, आईवेयर और मशीनरी को बदल दिया है. डिजिटलाइजेशन का भी बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट पड़ा है. अपने विचार शेयर करिए कि ऑप्टिकल इंडस्ट्री किस तरह बदल गई है और आने वाले टाइम में किस दिशा में जाएगी.
Got it. Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Prateek. First of all, thank you, TIO and Shrey, for having me be part of this panel. So I think right as I start talking about the question, one thing that is interesting is every panelist so far has already mentioned some aspect of digitalization as being very, very critical to business forward. So when we talk about digitalization, the first thing I want to talk about is that we need to decouple digitalization and e-commerce. Abhi, as a retailer, we all tend to believe कि digitalization का मतलब सिर्फ ये है कि e-commerce होना चाहिए, website होना चाहिए, उस पे transact होना चाहिए. There are very, very many other ways of doing that. And if I talk about digitalization specifically focused on marketing and how that can enable आप लोग retailers के लिए वो कैसे मदद कर सकता है. हमने पोल में भी देखा कि retailers का जो concern है वो है कि spend lower हो रहा है तो what can we do. So the way we look at it, there are 3 key trends digitalization में जो हमारे को पता होने चाहिए, which I think हम लोग as retailers you guys as retailers will increasingly adapt. The first thing is data and its effective use. So I think Mukul mentioned in ERP, हम सबके stores में एक ERP या एक backend system होता है, ordering platform. We are already sitting on a treasure trove of data. We have a lot of information, customer कहाँ रहते हैं, कौन है, age, birthday, so on and so forth. And we can really use this data to create innovative marketing campaigns, and we're going to start seeing that. अगर हम बात करें as an example, the reason why Arogya Setu app, for example, works so well is because it collects data and uses it effectively. The reason Lenskart does so well is because they're really good at managing their data. So we will see in the next year and a half that all of us opticians will get really wise and smart about that, right? The second thing related to data is data-driven marketing. I think हम लोगों का सबका थोड़ा concept will start to change about अभी market. अभी हम लोग walk-ins की बात करते हैं. I think that will change to a concept called drive-ins. Now I'm not saying people will drive into your store, but it will become much more proactive कि आप लोग क्या efforts कर रहे हैं, क्या digital initiatives कर रहे हैं, लोगों को अपने store में लाने के लिए. The industry is going through that shift, and COVID ने उसको काफी highlight कर दिया है. The second thing that we need to realize is that we all talk about word of mouth. But guys, word of mouth now includes word of internet. आपके business के बारे में लोग इंटरनेट पे क्या बात कर रहे हैं, आप इंटरनेट पे क्या मैसेजिंग दे रहे हैं, is going to be extremely important about what kind of customers come to your store. So please, these are things that we all need to work towards. The third thing we talk about is content. Content जो है हम सबके पास, we have TikToks, we follow all of these, celebrities, so on and so forth. Everybody is making content. So the big question for you is, आप इसको कैसे personalize करेंगे? How do you create credibility and how do you stand out to make sure people actually value what you're doing? With these 3 things put together, there are great number of marketing and digital initiatives you can do, which don't have to necessarily involve e-commerce.
Vidhi, on to you now. Same question.
Hi guys. Firstly, thank you so much for having me talk here today. I think I agree with Prateek a lot in terms of what he said, where every time we talk about technology, we always jump to e-commerce. And rightly, as Prateek said, technology is also the usage of the app backend that we use, for example, to take orders. Technology also is social media. Technology is also the fact that whatever is getting released in Milan, your end consumer in a tier 2 or a tier 3 city is also seeing on his phone the same time and wanting exactly that particular sunglass or frame. So technology is a variety of things for this industry currently. And I feel like not just brands, wholesalers, retailers, I feel like as companies, all of us need to embrace technology and be at par with what is happening, because none of our previous experiences are going to have any relevance on our future success if we are not going to embrace tech very strongly. It could be as simple as it's been 2 months since we're in this lockdown. We've not had a newspaper come home, but none of us have sort of missed it or realized that we're not reading our news, right? Everything is still on our phone. We're still seeing ads on our phone. We're still up to date with a lot of things that are happening. Like Prateek said, the reason why Lenskart works is because they're so data driven. Wholesalers like us, retailers, we need to understand our own customers' buying patterns, and that is only going to be available through tech. There's no other way we'll figure that out otherwise. At Opium, we have 2 major ways that we've decided we're helping our retailers out with regards to tech. One is we've now opened up opiumeyewear.com into a marketplace where opticians can sell their Opium products on our website as well. And additionally, we're also helping opticians tie up with a third-party vendor found to make their own website for the optician, for them to start being able to sell digitally as well. So I think each of us needs to help the other work better digitally to be able to succeed the different kinds of competition that could come to us. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Vidhi. Thank you, Prateek. I will just quickly wrap it up for our audience. So basically, हमारे panelists ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि technology का मतलब सिर्फ e-commerce नहीं है. जितनी जल्दी हम ये समझ लें, उतना हम फायदे में रहेंगे. E-commerce का मतलब है टेक्नोलॉजी का मतलब है पेमेंट्स, उसका मतलब है e-commerce, उसका मतलब है ऑर्डर्स कैसे लेना, उसका मतलब है सोशल मीडिया, उसका मतलब है मार्केटिंग. उसके बहुत सारे एस्पेक्ट्स हैं जो हमें देखने की ज़रूरत है. जैसे कि हमारे पैनलिस्ट ने कहा कि हमारे लिए डेटा पॉइंट्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होने वाले हैं. इस डेटा पॉइंट्स के यूज से हम अपने मार्केटिंग कैंपेन्स करें और हमें मालूम है हमारा कस्टमर कहाँ है, किस एज ग्रुप में है, कौन सी ज्योग्राफिक लोकेशन में है. इन सब डेटा पॉइंट्स को यूज करके हमें मार्केटिंग करना है. वर्ड ऑफ इंटरनेट इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अब सिर्फ बात करने से नहीं चलेगा, इंटरनेट पे एक्टिव रहने से चलेगा. And your content, whatever you are saying, your communication, your content is going to be very, very important. So आप अपने content पे ध्यान दें, कैसे आप सबसे अलग खड़े होंगे. Thank you so much. Let us move forward. I think before we go ahead, I will announce the results of the previous poll that we gave to our audience. So we had asked you a question. What do you think is the biggest challenge for our industry due to the COVID-19 pandemic? And we have received the maximum replies on the answer, slowdown in spending patterns due to overall economic situation. Thank you so much for sharing your opinion with us. Moving forward, I will ask another question to my audience, which is, what support do you most desire from your wholesale partners going forward? I repeat my question. आप अपने wholesale partner से किस तरह के support की उम्मीद करते हैं? Support in social media marketing to help consumers feel your store is safe to shop at, or help you train your team with detailed product knowledge and selling skills, or is it support you with better selling tools to help upgrade your customers, or the fourth one, improve the product offering to ensure your competitiveness against market disruptions. So जब तक आप हमारे polls का जवाब दें, तब तक मैं श्रेय से request करूंगी कि हमारे बाकी panelists से questions पूछकर आगे बढ़ें. Over to you, Shreya.
Thanks, Jaspinder. So my next question is to Mehul and Ms. Viraj. Mehul, what kind of support would you be willing to offer your retail opticians so that they in turn can induce buying at the consumer level and try to woo those customers who may be online, who may buy online. I'll repeat.
Thanks, Trey. Firstly, I would like to thank TIO for giving me this wonderful platform to express my views on it. And see, it's mandatory. We have to accept it mentally that there is no time referring to this virus and it's here to stay. So without changing the mere structure and value systems that we have been following, we have to inculcate an aggressive and lucrative retail opportunities. And see, secondly, we have to work a lot on our customer service and after sales service, and without any compromise on quality that we are providing. That's very important. And then see, we have to act as one single entity. We have to bridge the gap between suppliers and retailers. That's very, very important. And then we have to stock up on the matrix that's most demanded by the consumer for swift actions to tempt next generation freebies, and just some of the ideas we have in mind to lure the opticians. And lastly, in addition to being flexible and resilient to our policies, we are also this time quite open to changes and further improvise if there is any room for improvement. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Mehul. Viraj, would you like to answer the same question, please?
You're on mute, Viraj.
So building on what Mehul has said, there are quite a number of things that we can actually do. Offering extended warranties and extended after-sales service is something that I believe everyone will truly appreciate. We need to continuously keep listening to our customers, is because all the answers lie actually there. So what they want, only they can say. Secondly, all wholesalers need to continuously keep on offering, pushing digital content to their customers about new products, new services, what all is trending, and they can then further send it to their final customers. So timely sharing of relevant information about your products and services to all the stakeholders involved is inconsequential. But more than what offers we can give, it's very important to now look at it very holistically. We need to change the entire ecosystem. It will require the participation of all the stakeholders in it, and it will be rewarding to all. I'll give one example for this. So I believe if we can make a conducive environment for collaboration, then I think the results will be great. Collaboration at different levels between a wholesaler and a retailer, maybe a manufacturer and a wholesaler and a retailer. It'll be great. The results will be very good. One more thing that I'd like to touch upon is cash conversion cycles. Every retailer and every wholesaler, everyone in the supply chain needs to focus that, and that automatically will lead you to generate better discounts and better offers and better incentives to not only your end customers, but everyone else in the supply chain. So everyone benefits from this. Over to you, Shrey.
Thanks so much, Viraj. All right, moving on to the next question, question 5. High value business seems to have gone out of order. How will you help the retailer to attract high value customers, especially knowing that the ticket size has reduced and people will purchase only need to buy basis in the post-lockdown period? I'll repeat. इस लॉकडाउन के टाइम पे जब लोगों का ध्यान सिर्फ जरूरत के सामान पे है, हाई वैल्यू बिजनेस को जैसे बंद ही हो गया है. ये जानते हुए कि टिकट साइज कम हो गया है, आप अपने रिटेलर को हाई वैल्यू ब्रांड बेचने के लिए कैसे मोटिवेट करें? मुकुल.
Hi. Yeah. So I think the first step to actually sell a product of a higher value is to actually constantly keep training. I mean, we operate majoritarily in the B2B space with opticians and retailers around the country. So I think the first step is to sort of actually make the salesman in the retail store, in the optical store, to actually understand the intrinsic value of the product and why actually it is high price of the product. There's always a reason. The product is never high for no sort of reason. So there are things that makes it that price point, or There's things like material, there's design, technology, technical know-how, all sorts of things. The product is handmade, and I think most products that are handmade usually do have unique properties attached to them, always have, and I think always will, at least in the case of luxury products across segments. So I think all these things need to actually be communicated to the consumer buying the product, which already does happen. In our case, what we have been doing for the last maybe 4 or 5 years now is we've been digitally training sales staff of optical stores via different digital mediums. It has been going on for a long time. Even over the course of the lockdown, I think we've trained over 400 sales reps in optical stores, because it's important for them to be able to translate what the intrinsic value of the product is, so somebody's aware of what they're buying and why it costs what it costs. Speaking from experience of selling a high-end product or something that costs on the higher side of the spectrum, is it makes for lesser servicing and lesser defects. In some cases, it's even negligible in the products that we sell. So I think at a time like this, it's even more so important maybe for an optical store to want to try and dispense as much as possible a product like this, which would entail an end user to not come back to the store for servicing the product, because that would limit the amount of physical interaction that he has to have with the client. And I mean, everybody's mentioned to some degree, we know social distancing is here to stay for a long, long time. And it would help if the client did not come back for the service, or it could be as little as possible. Lastly, I think with regard to the ticket size that you've mentioned, selling a higher quality frame historically, from limited experience that I have, usually does lead to the optician also dispensing a higher quality lens. So overall, I think when he dispenses both, the ticket size of the product becomes significantly larger, which I think is helpful. Again, in a time like this, most of us have not been working for 2 months. Likewise, with most opticians have not been working for 2 months. So I think they would like, wherever possible, I mean, it's surely not going to be possible to every client, but wherever possible, it would be nice for them to have a larger ticket size, so as to try and cover up that much business that has been lost over the last 2 months. Yeah, so over to you. You're on mute.
Shrey, you there? You're on mute, Shrey.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah, Vidhi, same question to you as well.
So I think with regards to high value is a very complex term in this market because brands are available at every price point. So fashion, high fashion, luxury, premium, semi-luxury, there are just way too many categories even in a high value product. So I think each category has its own challenges, but I think the fashion category seems to be more affected than the luxury category. For the luxury brands that we're looking at Eternity, we don't think that the luxury category is as affected as the others. If we were to just look at data, for example, the Hermes store in China did their record business when it opened. The Chanel store in South Korea has had over 100 people standing outside in line. So I think for a person who is spending about $1.5 lakh or a little more than that, like Mukul said, with regards to the frame cost and the lens cost, they're not going to suddenly buy a cheaper option. They might wait a little longer before they buy something, but they're still going to stick to what they're buying in terms of their choices. To give you a simple example, we had one of our prominent retailers call us about 10 days ago that when they started their store, on day 1, they've sold a Chrome Hearts and a Maybach. So in terms of is high value affected or gone out of order, I think with regards to us, it hasn't. Answering your questions with regards to how we're going to be helping our retailers, what we've been doing before also and what we continue to do is we do luxury events to help our retailer, where for a weekend we take our entire collection to the retailer's store, where they call their high profile customers who at one time get to see a full collection of the brand and not just the products that are available with the retailer. So I think this gives the consumer the confidence on the retailer, and it gives the retailer immediate sellout of the products. So I think with regards to helping them over and above the training programs, helping them also with tools that they can sanitize and clean their products, because a lot of our products are made of wood, horn, and leather. I think these things are also key in terms of helping our retailers take care of their product. So yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your views. This is really insightful. So I'll just quickly wrap up what you said. So what you're saying is that high value products भी जो है वो कई category में है और उनके कई reasons हो सकते हैं, कई handmade है, कोई technology है, quality है. Depending upon the reason, हम अपने जो sales staff है उसको हम लोग train करें और उसको बताएं कि क्यों ये high value product है, ताकि वो information हमारे customer के पास भी हम pass on कर सकें. And as you rightly mentioned कि so there are mixed views. हमारे panelists को लगता है कि ज़रूरी नहीं है कि luxury items जो हैं, जो luxury products हैं, वो affected हो COVID से, because अभी भी जो customers already luxury products खरीद रहे थे, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो economical range पे आ जाएंगे. वो अभी भी luxury खरीदना चाहेंगे, चाहे वो थोड़ा रुक के खरीदेंगे, but वो खरीदना चाहेंगे. तो इसके लिए ज़रूरी है, जैसे एक बहुत अच्छा idea हमें दिया विधि ने, कि आप retailers जो हैं वो जो wholesalers हैं वो retailers के साथ में कुछ luxury events कर सकते हैं, जिसमें high profile customers को retailers अपने invite कर सकते हैं और आप अपने products को showcase कर सकते हैं. Thank you so much, guys. We'll move on, and before we do that, we already have the poll results in front of us. We had asked a question to our audience. What support do you most desire from your wholesale partners going forward? So हमारे audience जो है वो चाहते हैं कि wholesalers उनको help करें to improve the product offering to ensure their competitiveness against market disruptions. So ये हमारे wholesalers के लिए एक message है. ये हमारे retailers friends हमारे आपसे चाह रहे हैं. इसके साथ में मैं अपना next poll question audience को देना चाहूँगी. The next question for you is, how do you see the consumers' purchase pattern changing in the next few years? आपके हिसाब से आने वाले कुछ सालों में consumers की खरीदारी करने का तरीका या उनकी खरीदारी करने का pattern कैसे change होने वाला है? Do you see there's going to be no change, previous pattern to continue, or do you think customers will now focus on quality products? Or do you think customers will only shop from stores that are sanitized as per international standards? Customers will prefer to have products purchased in store to be home delivered? Or do you think that customers will only buy what is necessary and not indulge themselves? हमें आपके opinion का इंतजार रहेगा. जब तक आप हमें अपने poll के answers दें, तब तक हम अपने बाकी panelists से कुछ बातचीत आगे जारी करेंगे. Over to you, Shrey, for the next question.
Thanks, Jaspinder. Yeah, my next question is for Priyal, Mehul, and Anik. The question is, there is likely to be a shift in purchase pattern of retailers and consumers post-COVID. How will these changes affect the optical industry, and what will be its impact on global and Indian trends? Evolution. I'll just repeat that question. I'm sorry. Yeah. There is likely to be a shift in the purchase pattern of retailers and consumers post-COVID. How will these changes affect the optical industry, and what will be its impact on evolution of global Indian trends? Priyal?
Thank you, Shrey. So of course, there's going to be a change in purchase pattern for the consumers, in turn, because of which there will be a little bit of change in pattern for the retailers. But of course, when we talk about expensive products, they're still going to be bought, but there will be a push in more affordable and good quality products. And after the Prime Minister has quoted the Atmanirbhar Bharat wave, there is going to be a lot of opportunity for Indian manufacturers, Indian brands, local brands. They can stand out and come out in the market, and local products, it is a good opportunity for them to follow the path of becoming a brand and maybe a global brand also. So we need to adapt to this change and take this as an opportunity, because COVID is a situation that has not only affected our industry, but every industry overall. So what is the best that we can do out of it and take it out? And that's about it.
All right, thanks. Anik, would you like to go ahead?
Okay, I will answer this question in two parts. So what I think the changes will happen and what my dad thinks the changes will happen. So I will start with what I am expecting the changes will happen is that even though the customers will be conscious about the price and they will be expecting discounts, but what I am seeing is that now customers will be more concerned about health. Even though COVID is not related to eye care, but those ripple effects will be there because eye care is also pseudo healthcare. So if you tie your marketing pitch with a little bit of health, then you can actually upsell your product rather than discounting them. So now I will say what my dad thinks will happen, which is he's expecting that the customer will be more price conscious and this will lead to wholesalers discounting the product. So this is what I don't want it to happen because as you know, in game theory, once you start discounting, everyone loses. No one gains out of it. So rather than doing that, we should try and make the pie bigger rather than kill each other off. So that's about it from me.
That was seriously very interesting, Anik. Right, moving on to Mehul. Mehul, what do you have to say about this?
Hi guys, see, the purchase patterns are going for a complete overhaul. And in this, we have to understand the need will take over the wish and the durability will take over fashion. And हम सबको ये बात पता है, मतलब इंडस्ट्री में सबको ये बात पता है, हम सबने इसके लिए अरेंजमेंट्स भी कर लिए हैं कि जैसे हमें पता है कि ये परचेजिंग पैटर्न चेंज हो जाएगा. बट एंड मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली जैसे हमें सबको आजकल दिख ही रहा है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम हैज बिकम द न्यू नॉर्मल and lit up screens have taken most of our time. So for this, in the market, we have a lot of wide variety of anti-exposure lenses to safeguard our eyes from this increased strain of long extended working hours and seeing TV all the time and being on the phone all the time. But I'm pretty sure that millennials and Gen Z, will again turbocharge the fashion sales. So my only I would like to tell the retailers that we should focus on this segment and lure them back with attractive offers so their interest rekindles in splurging on new fashions. Thank you. Back to you, Shrey.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Mehul and Anik. So आपने जो बात कही वो हमारे रिटेलर्स के लिए बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग मैसेज है कि आप डिस्काउंट नहीं दें, आप सोचें कि आप उससे कैसे, क्योंकि अब लोग इतने हेल्थ कॉन्शियस हो गए हैं, तो कैसे उससे हेल्थ कनेक्ट करके आप उसको अपसेल कर सकते हैं. So of course, our panelists think that durability is definitely going to overtake fashion. Fashion इतना important नहीं रहेगा अभी जितना durability है, लेकिन फिर भी हम इसको handle कर सकते हैं intelligently. Thank you so much, all the three of you. And before we move forward, I would like to announce the results of our polls. We had asked a question, in your opinion, how do you see the consumer's purchase pattern changing in the next few years? And the maximum answers that I have received are for the option, customers will only buy what is necessary and not indulge themselves. So this is what our audience thinks. Thank you so much for sharing your opinions and thoughts with us. Moving on to the next poll question for the audience. What area of business will require most attention once you reopen your stores? So एक बार stores खुलने के बाद, lockdown के बाद, कौन से ऐसे areas हैं जिस पे आपको सबसे ज़्यादा ध्यान देना होगा? Is it ensuring in-store safety protocols? Is it better inventory management? Is it managing cash flow? Or is it going to be marketing and PR? Let us know what you think about these options. Meanwhile, Shrey, I would request you to ask your next question to the panelists, please.
Right, thanks, Jaspinder again. Yeah, my next question is to Prateek and Kavin. Prateek, Make in India is a big step for the Indian optical industry. What support would you be looking at from the government to take this step forward for our industry? Again in Hindi, right? आत्मनिर्भर भारत एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कदम है हमारी इंडस्ट्री के लिए. आप गवर्नमेंट से क्या मदद की उम्मीद करते हो कि इस कदम को हम और आगे बढ़ाएं?
Thank you for the question, Shrey. So I think before I quickly answer the question, just a quick overview of the industry, right? हम लोग का जो इंडस्ट्री है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन आप कौन सा नंबर्स देखते हैं, क्या एस्टिमेट्स लेते हैं, 10 से 15,000 करोड़ का इंडस्ट्री है पैन इंडिया, जिसके अंदर परचेस लेवल के ऊपर 5,000 से 8,000 करोड़ का परचेस है आपका. नाउ about 90% of the purchase, 90% of the products जो हम बेचते हैं, they are all coming from imported sources, especially China, which presents us with a very, very unique opportunity कि ये 90%, which amounts to somewhere around 2 से 2,500 crore, depending on the estimates, if we can start making in India, can you imagine इसका upside क्या है? Can you imagine what is the potential? And Priyal also alluded to it. Now, add to that the fact that the government has a major push on Make in India now, Atmanirbhar Bharat. These initiatives are really a great way for us to push the industry to the next level. And therefore, for me personally, my demands from the Indian government would be कि हम लोग एक नया अभियान चालू करते हैं, देखो आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान. As part of this अभियान, हम लोग अपनी इंडस्ट्री के लिए एक स्पेशल इंडस्ट्री स्टेटस रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं. And now this is based on the simple fact, two things. सबसे पहले हमारे इंडस्ट्री में there is a 90% chance of import substitution, क्योंकि 90% प्रोडक्ट बाहर बन रहा है और लेंस और चश्मों को बनाने के जो इक्विपमेंट है, जो लेबर है, जो रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, they are not rocket science. It's not very difficult. So it's fairly easy to bring that expertise into India, and we already have a lot of expertise. For example, it's all of our parents from the panelists, but also a lot of people who are attending right now. So that is one ground for why we really need to request this. The second thing is that this enables us to bring a lot of parity in terms of the pricing for frames and lenses. I can speak more for lenses because we deal with that on a day-to-day basis. It's very hard to compete when import from China is coming in at such a low price when you start to create your own cost structure for manufacturing. So Atmanirbhar, Dekho Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is intended at getting the industry a special status which really allows us to start up the ecosystem for manufacturing and for the industry at large. The general demands are already within the ambit of Make in India. We would like land at a concessional or larger, at lower interest rates spread over a larger amount of time. Let's make capital equipment duty free. And there are some of these other demands that we can go into detail, but really, this is a unique opportunity for all of us to work together and create the Dekho Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Over to you, Shrey.
Yeah, thanks so much, Prateek. Kavin, what do you think about Make in India?
Thanks, Shrey. So Prateek brought out a few very interesting points, and I'd just like to add to that. Today in India, I don't think there is a lack of advanced technology. Today we've got everything that we need to. We do manufacture on a day-to-day basis some of the finest products in the world. I'm talking specifically about our industry, and it's possible. Now, when you say Make in India, and like how Prateek mentioned that most of the raw materials that we have are, imported, and obviously all the machinery that we require to finish the product is also imported, and we pay a lot of duty, etc., etc. Now the point is, first and foremost, our government needs to reduce the bureaucracy involved in setting up operations of any kind. Now, this obviously, I'm speaking with regards to our industry, but this is applicable to every industry and every field. There needs to be a one-stop solution to obtain all the relevant permissions required to set up any business. Today you have one window for the GST, you have another window to get electricity, you have another window for shop and establishment, etc., etc. I mean, there are just too many layers, and this is an impediment for anybody to set up any operation. Overall, the infrastructure that we have in our country is subpar for an upcoming emerging superpower. It's subpar. If you compare us to China when it comes to the infrastructure that they have, why is it that China's products are cheaper than what we can manufacture internally? Okay, we've got outdated labor laws. So these are just some of the things that need to be touched upon. better infrastructure, ease of doing business. These are things that will attract or encourage entrepreneurs to invest money and expand expand the facilities to create a production line for items that we are today importing. Of course, then, tax breaks, etc., like Pratik mentioned, land at a subsidized cost, etc. These are just some of the nuances that, each and every industry would demand. But the point is, there are certain basics that, we as a country need to focus on. If Make in India has to become a reality, we should not just be somebody who's doing job work for somebody else. We should look at creating things for ourselves. And obviously our industry, like Pratik mentioned, is a relatively small industry when you look at the entire size of the Indian economy. So, these kind of reforms can benefit every single industry, not just us.
Thank you, Pratik and Kavin. So basically, आप लोग की बात सुन के मुझे लगा कि possible है कि हम लोग भी यहाँ मेक इन इंडिया को actually सिर्फ एक ड्रीम ना ले, उसको हम actually possible कर सकें अगर थोड़ा सा गवर्नमेंट का साथ मिल जाए. जैसे कि आप लोगों ने मेंशन किया कि हम खुद से मैन्युफैक्चर कर सकते हैं अगर ये पूरा प्रोसेस जो है उसको सिंप्लीफाई किया जा सके, कुछ रिफॉर्म्स हमें दिए जा सके, तो हम ये एक्चुअली में कर सकते हैं कुछ लॉज के चेंजेस के साथ में. A few changes here and a few changes there can actually make it happen. So that was really insightful. Thank you for sharing your views. Moving on. I think we have already got the results of the last poll question that we had asked our audience. And the question was, what area of business will require most attention once you reopen your stores? And the answer that we've got is ensuring in-store safety protocols. So safety is going to take over everything else. This is what our audience thinks. Thank you, audience. It was lovely having the communication with you as well while we were talking to our panelists. Now, since this was our last question, I would also take an opportunity to ask a few questions that our audience have been asking while the session the webinar was going on. So I would request my panelists to set them to remove the mute, to come and so that I can ask the questions and you can tell me whether you want to answer this question or not. So my first question is, thank you for doing that. What actions are you taking? So one of our audience is asking, what actions are you taking as a business leader to ensure that your organization stays at the forefront of the eyewear industry evolution? Pratik.
Yeah, so I think over the course of this discussion, we've all talked about a lot of measures, digitization, so on and so forth. But I think there are 3 points that I think are very relevant when I think about myself as a person in the family business. And I'm sure it probably applies at various extents to all my panelists as well. So the first thing is, I think we need, and these are things that I fall back on often when I'm taking business decisions, thinking about business, competition, so on and so forth. So the first thing is I remind myself to lose the entitlement. जो हमारी हकदारी है. What I go back to is the reason my family's business is where it is right now is because they have worked really, really hard, and I am not entitled to be here. I will be here as long as I am putting in that much effort and putting in that much smarts, so on and so forth. So I think for me, that's a really grounding factor, and that's something I go back to often to make sure कि मैं अपने business को relevant रख रहा हूँ. The second thing is we really we're all obviously younger, and therefore we really need to be on the nerve. We need to understand what the trends are that will be coming up. So a lot of this digitization conversation, a lot of these things become very, very relevant. हम लोग कैसे ढूंढें कि नई opportunities क्या हैं? Opportunities जहाँ पे competition कम है, opportunities जहाँ पे opportunities हैं. And I think the final thing, and this might be a little industry specific, I don't know. I think we really need to put up a more united front. I think within the industry, we see a lot of conversation around silos and groups कि हम लोग इस तरीके से करेंगे, वो लोग इस तरीके से करेंगे, and really that's really giving जो हमारे disruptors हैं, जो outsiders हैं, it's giving them a lot of room to mix things up. If we stand as a united front, I am sure that in addition to the fact that we will grow the industry by leaps and bounds, we will also make sure that our businesses are growing. So I think these are the three things attitudinally that I want to take away from here and that I want to work on.
Thank you, Prateek.
Thank you.
Next question from our audience is, what changes can we expect post-lockdown on credit limits? What changes can we expect post-lockdown on credit limits? Anyone?
I can take it.
Okay, Kavin, thank you. Sure.
So this is something which is obviously a very touchy topic for any business. It's definitely in our industry, more for frames, lesser for lenses, but I mean, we're all in the same boat. Cash flow is going to be the most important aspect for a business's survival over the next, let's say, 6 to 8 months. Now, obviously, the wholesalers will get cash flow if the retailers pay them. The retailers will get, increase their cash flow if they don't pay the wholesalers. But we need to understand that we can't survive, the retailers can't survive without the products that the wholesaler and the services that the wholesalers provide. And it kind of has to be something which we work together and figure out a solution to. Now, obviously, wholesalers will prefer reducing the credit limits because obviously since the last 2 to 3 months, they haven't received any payments. The retailers haven't had any business and therefore have been unable to make payments. So the idea has to be that, we can't survive without each other. Both of us have to help each other. And definitely credit limits where, you were within credit, your payment terms were within the limit at, prior to the COVID situation. Definitely every wholesale partner will stand by you and, support you. But in a situation where you were overextended even prior to the COVID-19 limit, I do not think the wholesale, wholesalers will extend your credit limit even further, and continue to supply to you. So there will be, so it really depends on what type of credit limit how you were managing your cash flow and credits prior to the COVID-19 situation. And definitely our industry being, a small industry, which is built on relationships, we definitely want to support each other to ensure that we succeed. And definitely we all will. I'm sure my not only the guys who are, not only the wholesalers who are on this panel, but all the wholesalers across the country will stand by their retailers. And I'm also confident by and large that all the retailers will stand by their wholesalers and help each other, because that's the only way we can survive. There is no other option.
Absolutely, Kevin. Thank you so much. I would now request Mr. Wadhwa to give us some closing remarks. Mr. Wadhwa.
Thank you. And it was wonderful listening to the whole thing. And what I would say, the final word is optimism. What has come out of this? We are not going to give up, and everyone is ready to fight it out. And everyone is suggesting we'll just need to change the gears, learn new concepts, and go into symbiosis where we have to help each other out, and we'll be out of this crisis soon. All the best to everybody. Over to you, Jaspinder.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective, Mr. Wadhwa. It was wonderful having you on our webinar this time as well. And I would like to thank all our panelists for sharing their experiences and thoughts with us all. Would also like to thank Mr. Harish Kumar from the Indian Optician for putting this insightful webinar together for our audience. And last but not the least, thanks to all of you, the audience, for being such a wonderful audience. Over to you, Shrey.
Hey, thanks. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. I sincerely hope that you all enjoyed this session and will apply what you have learned today in your day-to-day dealings. Very soon we will be back, this time with youthful panelists from the retail sector who will share their insights with you all. Stay tuned for more details in the coming days. Stay home, stay safe, and wish you all a good night.